Just like we've been saying, please take COVID seriously. I can't say it enough. Enough people have died. We don't need any more deaths.
You have the beginning. We're gonna give you more of Sean Hannity last night with a little commentary on COVID, saying people need to take it seriously. That generated a couple waves of response on social media. So initially there was, what? Really, Sean Hannity? And then there were people who wanted to give credit. And look, as I say, I'm always eager to give these monsters credit for doing the right thing because so many lives are on the line. But we would go on to learn that the rest of his commentary was not necessarily that consistent with what he was saying there. But that said, David, let's jump in with initially him saying, take it seriously, enough people have died. That is by itself, for me at least, enough to really stand out from the rest of Fox's commentary on vaccination throughout this year.
Yeah, I think this is sort of a remarkable moment at Fox, and behind the scenes, from what I'm picking up from some of my former colleagues, and full disclosure, I was there from, let's see, 96 to 2001, 2002. And so I still have a couple of people still there. Behind the scenes, there is this ferocious battle going on at Fox News, and that you have the Murdochs who are now fearful that they could ultimately lose advertisers, that the Fox brand could be hurt if history judges Fox as responsible in any way for the tens of thousands of deaths that are coming because of this new wave of the COVID variants. That the 40% of the country that decided not to get vaccinated, great. You're screwing the rest of us because not only putting your own lives in danger, you're enabling these variants to spread. And eventually there might be a variant that is able to get past the current vaccine. So all of us are in danger thanks to those idiots who are refusing to get the vaccine. And speaking of idiots, when you have people like Laura Ingraham and Tucker Carlson who are telling their audience, be skeptical of the vaccines, they're not telling you everything. And as a result, you have people who are not getting the vaccines. Again, Fox is now directly responsible for this public health crisis that we have in this country. And I think at a certain point, from what I'm hearing, the Murdoch said, okay, enough. We need to be, at least for the historical record, for the next 6 months, a year going forward, we need to have some key statements from some of our stars that everybody can point to say, no, Fox News was on the side of getting vaccines. We were on the side of science, and that's coming from the Murdochs. And yet, and even though you have the hypocrites like Laura Ingraham and Tucker Carlson who have gotten their own vaccines but who are egging on their audience to be mad about it, I think they're still sort of pushing back. And so there's this remarkable fight going on at Fox News. And again, all driven by the Murdochs and their concern about, well, what's going to happen to Fox in terms of its brand, in terms of its image, in terms of advertisers. Fox is already getting a lot of pushback from a lot of advertisers for their role, for example, in spraying the big lie about the election. And it sounds like the Murdochs don't want to go through that again, this time with the pandemic.
Yeah, it is entirely possible. I mean, and we will see as we launch into potentially another wave, it's going to become more real. But that said, as I implied in the intro, like it is a very mixed bag. So let's go to a little bit more of his commentary, get a little bit more context, and then we will add further context after this.
Research like crazy. Talk to your doctor, your doctors, medical professionals you trust based on your unique medical history, your current medical condition, and you and your doctor make a very important decision for your own safety. Take it seriously. You also have a right to medical privacy. Doctor-patient confidentiality is also important, and it absolutely makes sense for many Americans to get vaccinated. I believe in science. I believe in the science of vaccination.
Okay, so look, that's good, I guess it's not great. It's like, I believe it does make sense for many Americans to get vaccinated. No, you cowardly idiot. You know that it makes sense for virtually everyone who can be vaccinated to be vaccinated. And sure, talking to your doctor and asking questions is a good idea. People should do it more about more things that are going on in their life. That said, you do not need to have a long sit-down conversation with your GP to find out if you should get vaccinated. You almost certainly should. You should have 6 months ago. And so that bothers me. But that said, he does tell you to get vaccinated, or he won't tell you. He says it's probably a good idea for many of you. That follows yesterday on Fox and Friends with Ducey pretty strongly implying that people should. So that's good. But I do want to add even more context. And as John Wolf pointed out on Twitter, before that clip, Hannity criticized the university for mandating vaccines. And after that clip, Hannity brought on a young woman who lost feeling in her legs for a month back in 2019 after getting a different type of vaccine. which absent context might be fine. There are consequences to all sorts of medicine, that's fine. But if you're saying I'm doing the right thing, then going out there and using your limited time to spotlight probably incredibly rare consequences of other vaccines during the segment where you're encouraging vaccines, I get to point out that it seems as if you're trying to say something. Whether you're explicitly saying it or not, and I doubt you will because you don't want to be sued, you certainly seem to be hinting at something there. Your thoughts, David?
I agree, and it seems like, I mean, I think people like Sean Hannity and the rest, if they were to come out and say everybody should get a vaccine, except for people who have certain pre-existing conditions or immunosuppressant or whatever it is, then that would be doing a full 180, and that would be going against their theme for the last several months that there's this evil Biden administration which is going to force you to get vaccines, which is going to go door to door, and you're going to require a vaccine passport, and if you're going to do anything, you have to be vaccinated. The government's going to come to your door and force you to get the Fauci jab. That has been their main talking point. So what they're doing is they're now on this sort of very thin reed where they're saying, well, yeah, maybe talk to a doctor because if you're pregnant or if you have cancer, if you have an immunosuppression issue, maybe a vaccine. Of course, yes, that has been the statement from the CDC, from everybody all along. Based on your medical condition, you make an evaluation. 99% of the public should get the vaccine. There are, of course, going to be some people who shouldn't for whatever reason, and there are different safety protocols for them. But for Fox News to now retreat and say, oh, no, we're not going to step back and say the government's not telling you to do something. They're still telling you to get the vaccine. They're still coming door to door. Universities are still forcing students to do this. That protects what they've said in the past. So they're not doing a full 180. And yet they can also say, but yes, most people should get the vaccine, and therefore we, Fox News, are not going to be responsible for the skepticism, the misplaced skepticism that is out there that is causing this pandemic to keep going. It is a remarkable trick that they're trying to pull, and it seems to me mind-boggling that they're going to get away with this, but that's how Fox News operates.
Yeah, and so far they have, and yeah, it really does feel like a covering your ass moment. But that said, while I know that that's what it is, if Sean Hannity's thing last night leads to just even a few conservatives not dying that would have otherwise, that's a good thing. I will give him credit for that.
Yes.
But I'm not stupid, and he hasn't retracted anything that he's said or done in his shows. So at the same time that I'm giving him credit, I will take issue with the fact that less than a week ago, he had on Laura Trump to say that COVID had been about controlling people, quote, from day one. But day one was under Trump. He was the one taking credit for it. So was he controlling people with the vaccine? But you don't have any strong follow-up from Sean Hannity there. And he didn't say it after all. He just brought on Laura Trump to attack the vaccine. I'm sure he won't bring her on in the future since she's doing this misinforming. Or for instance, when this is like a Tucker Carlson moment from last week. He said on his radio show back on April 27th, well, have you gotten your vaccine yet? Which vaccine did you get? How about it's none of your business? How about, well, what do you mean you're not going to get vaccinated? How about that's a choice between an individual and a doctor? I'm very pro-science. I'm not anti-vaccine, but I'm also medical. I'm also a libertarian believer in medical privacy. It's unbelievable everyone wants to know. It's like everyone now, I will tell you, I probably would have told people my decision until everyone started demanding that I tell them what my decision is. So maybe I'll say that you should maybe get it, but like, did I get it? I don't know. It's private. I don't want to say. I'm not going to make clear if it was me or not. You little coward. You know,
it's funny.
David, really fast. Is he vaccinated?
Oh yeah, I'm sure Tucker Carlson is vaccinated, and I'm sure his kids. I'm sure as a parent, he wants to know that his kids are in a school where everybody else is vaccinated in terms of like measles and polio and all those other things that are required if you're going to go to even a lot of most private schools and public schools. So I'm sure Tucker Carlson is vaccinated. It is just so fascinating to see Fox News try to do nuance when this is an organization and a media message that has not been nuanced. It's not part of its DNA. They're very sort of simplistic. You're with us, you're against us. It's us against them. For them to now sort of take a more nuanced position and say, well, yeah, there's certain cases where maybe you shouldn't get it. It's pretty remarkable to watch them try to do that.
Yeah, I agree.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.